Elizabeth Loftus was intrigued in how we remember memory. To her surprise, our recall memories are not the same as they were when recorded. She called these illusions false memories, and they occur quite frequently with eyewitnesses' testimonies. To explain how false memories can happen, Elizabeth Loftus conducted an experiment with military soldiers. These soldiers were put through stress-intense interrogations, and after the interrogations, soldiers had to identify the interrogator. Here's the clip of the experiment explained.
The subjects in the study were members of the U.S. military who were undergoing a harrowing training exercise to teach them what it's going to be like for them if they are ever captured as prisoners of war. And as part of this training exercise, these soldiers are interrogated in an aggressive, hostile, physically abusive fashion for 30 minutes. And later on, they have to try to identify the person who conducted that interrogation. And when we feed them suggestive information that insinuates it's a different person, many of them misidentify their interrogator.
In an article I read over familiarity and false memory, written by Alan Kirsten and Julie Earls, the article states that mugshot viewing can be a useful investigative tool, but it may also be a contamination to eyewitness memory, either because the pictured individual resembles the actual perpetrator or because the pictured individual is familiar for other reasons. Such is the case with Penny Bernstein and Steven Avery. Steven Avery is the star of the Netflix documentary series called Making a Murderer. On July 29, 1985, Penny Bernstein was jogging on a beach near her home in Wisconsin when a man jumped out of the bushes and attacked and raped her. She gave a description of her assailant to the police, and when she went in to do a live lineup, she picked Steven Avery's picture out. Here is an audio clip of him.
I started shaking. It was like, wow, there's no doubt in my mind, this is the guy.
With false eyewitness testimony, the question of familiarity playing a role comes into mind. Professor Johnston featured an article in the journal titled Memory, found that people tend to be more attracted to familiar faces rather than unfamiliar. He did this through various investigations of how both familiar and unfamiliar faces are processed. Could this be another play into eyewitness testimonies? In a study done in a Netflix docuseries titled 100 Humans, researchers rose the question, can good looks keep you out of jail? In other words, are good-looking people able to get away with more than average-looking people? For example, people who are going on trial and are relatively good-looking, is the jury more likely to give them a lighter sentence? Researchers divided 100 people into two groups, Group A and Group B, both consisting of the same amount of people. Group A will see one set of mugshots while Group B sees a different set. However, all crimes will remain the same. Both groups are told that researchers conducted interviews and took photos at correctional facilities who were all found guilty of their crimes. All they had to do is determine the appropriate sentence for their crime. However, what both groups don't know is that Group A is shown average-looking people, while Group B is shown more attractive-looking people. However, all people seen in mugshots are not real criminals, they are actors, which both groups do not know. The results of this study propose that more attractive-looking people are given less harsher sentences than compared to the less attractive, an average of a 4-year difference between attractive and the average-looking person. Although this may not seem as a huge difference, this could still be explained by the halo effect, when a trait of a person is used to make an overall judgment about that person, in this case, attractiveness. This could also be explained with familiarity and facial symmetry that was also described by Professor Johnston. All in all, the same can go for people who are wrongly convicted due to eyewitness testimonies. Familiarity promotes attraction, and attraction can determine your fate.